So the PlayStation Portal has come out, and I was kind of surprised by how much conversation there was, both before and after that, about this thing being kind of useless. Because I feel like I immediately had a bunch of use cases for it. Not exactly use cases that would probably each, get like millions and millions of sales or whatever, but still, it definitely didn't seem useless. Like for example, basically any situation where you don't have like a traditional living room setup, I feel like this is kind of perfect. Like a college dorm, basically great for that. Obviously, there's not like a big TV and a couch or whatever in there. Basically, any like small apartment. It's kind of reason why like handhelds have always been really good in like Japan, because you don't need like a suburban American living room setup the way that most people kind of use consoles. And it's not like it's a choice of, oh, you have to do that or this. Like if you buy a Portal and eventually you're not in a college dorm anymore, I mean, you can still just plug your PlayStation 5 in. It's not like you can't do that now you got a Portal. Like it doesn't limit you in any way to where you would avoid buying it if that's just a short-term thing.
It's not like you buy a Switch Lite, the handheld one, and then you suddenly realize, actually, wait, I kind of wish I had the ability to dock it and put it on TV.
There's also the one basically everyone thought of just, oh, your kid or girlfriend or whatever is just watching TV and you're just playing that at the same time. But also, even just as an individual, I feel like it still has value. Like the big use case for like my Nintendo Switch, since I haven't really been traveling as much as I was kind of when I first got it, has kind of just been like watching sports and playing Animal Crossing during like commercials or less interesting parts, like when they come back from commercials and just like ramble for a little while. But granted, that's a little bit kind of because of Animal Crossing is the way that it is, so I don't know if I would do that with like Bloodborne or whatever. But, that's still something. Just playing something kind of casually that doesn't require a massive amount of focus while just kind of watching TV. And speaking of sports, kind of another perfect example is just like frat houses. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if like every one of those doesn't have one of these things, just some people are just watching TV and then like someone's playing FIFA or something. Granted, I feel like a lot of frat houses probably have Xboxes, but that might just be because I'm from like the Halo 3 age range. Maybe that's not really a thing for people like entering college now. But actually, going back to the whole like individual thing, just watching TV and playing something casual, I feel like it might actually be a really good time for that, because like, there isn't that much coming out in like 2024. I feel like there's Final Fantasy, I think like Prince of Persia remake, some like Mario stuff like Thousand Year Door remake,
or like Dragon's Dogma,
and that's kind of it. Like obviously, there's stuff that's probably gonna get announced like earlier in this year, and there's been speculation based on some comments and some leaked stuff that like Grand Theft Auto 6 and like that Marvel Wolverine game from Insomniac is coming out in 2024. But that's kind of loose. I don't know if there'd be like that quick of a turnaround between like announcement, trailer, and release for Grand Theft Auto 6. I feel like it'd probably take a second. Especially since I feel like they might want to avoid what they did with 5, where they released the online like a month or whatever it was after the game itself, just because of how big of a moneymaker online ended up being. They'd probably want as many people playing that, so getting it right on launch would probably be something they really want to do this time around. So, I mean, again, not that much happening in 2024. Might be a good time to just get into like a casual, grindy game or roguelike or whatever. Just basically perfect for that situation of just like watching TV and just playing something kind of grindy. In fact, it might not be that big of a coincidence that they're launching this basically right before this big push to like live services happens. Like that might be the plan. Oh, we don't think there's much coming out next year, so getting people to spend a lot of time on like these like grindy live service things on like the Portal while they just like watch TV or something could literally be their plan. Well, this doesn't really have much to do with like use cases, but I think kind of in general, it is also worth talking about kind of the weird disconnect that I've been seeing talk about this. Because a lot of the reviews that I've seen have been pretty positive, but then the comments have filled with people being like, I don't know why this is so positive. This thing's so stupid. Just buy like some Bluetooth controller for your phone that can already do remote play. That's cheaper. But like, that kind of sucks. Like, this thing's literally a PS5 controller. It's going to play PS5 games a lot better than just like a knockoff Nintendo Switch Joy-Con thing. Plus, I don't really want to squint at like a 5.5-inch phone screen to try to read like text instead of like the 8-inch screen on the Portal. Like the whole thing is kind of like, yeah, you could spend less for a significantly worse experience, but not everyone wants to do that. Right? It's like saying people who buy like desktop PCs are stupid because you could just save a lot of money on like a cheap last gen laptop when like, no, that's kind of a lot different and possibly worse experience depending on what you want to do with it. Not to mention I have no idea what the battery life is even like with remote play on a smartphone, especially on like mobile data. So I don't really want to like drain my phone's battery just to play like an hour of a game instead of like the 4 hours you can get on this thing. Also, people have kind of mentioned this, but a lot of the problems people have with it are things that could be fixed with software updates. Right? Like, I think the Bluetooth thing is kind of out of the question, but like the whole thing about how you can't use it in some like public Wi-Fi situations because it doesn't have a web browser, possibly for security reasons. But like, they could, in theory, add that. I don't really see much reason why they couldn't. And also, improvements to the whole touch bar equivalent thing on it. There's also that whole thing of like, oh, this could be better if they just like let people run PSP games and whatever on there. I kind of really don't see the point in that. Like, first of all, you kind of can, I'm pretty sure, just via remote play if you have that subscription service. But also, is there even that big of a market for that? Like, I mean, again, you can just do that on your phone. And that's probably better suited for like Bluetooth controllers than like PS5 games. And like, are you doing that now? Like, I kind of really haven't. I could have done that, again, phone, laptop, just desktop PC at any point, and I have never done that. I've never felt the desire to really do that. So I don't know how many people that would even make a difference for.